I say that Eastern Kentucky is the white-collar crime capital of the world. If we had just one would help, forensic accountant to come in and actually look at a lot of these finances, whether it be city, state, nonprofit,
the child
for-profit, child support, you name it. We need forensic accountants.
Welcome to Creepalachia. We have an important episode today. We occasionally have those, and today we're going to talk all about Letcher County, and we actually have a pro. So for those of my following, we have what I was to the Natalie Cochran case. We have to the Letcher County case where Judge Mullins was murdered allegedly by Sheriff Mickey Stines in his chambers. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We have two goals. We have two people in here. So we got Elizabeth with Hillbilly Crime. Mm-hmm. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. And
we have Tya, who's going to share her experience that you have been through, very traumatic experience. And I appreciate you doing that and being so willing to be so open. You've had you've had national headlines here as of late. So we're going to talk about that too. But before I get started, ladies, let everyone know that we'll let you, this is an alleged conversation. The case hasn't happened in court yet. There hasn't been things released, and we'll see how that goes. So we're going to lay out the facts as we see them. Elizabeth has tons of documents, and Tya is going to share her experience because we have to give victims and potential victims platforms to do these things, and we have to talk about these things. So thank you. All right. So let's start with Elizabeth first. So tell me about you.
Well, thanks for having us, first of all. Thank you. We had a great time getting here. I'm not much different than Tya or any of the other girls. We all struggled with substance abuse. My path was very similar to theirs, only it didn't have to do with the judge and, people in the legal system and the SMEC stuff. Mm-hmm. Mine weren't.
I love that you censor the words. Just so you know, I don't hear I could care less if the algorithm punishes me for that, But I love I've been watching your videos. I know you say smacks all the time. I'm like, that's so funny.
Yeah. They just mute my audio all the time. I just be talking and they're like, nope, you're done.
Yeah.
Restricted, no sound.
No, yeah. And I get it, but go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
No, that we were talking before we went live. As soon as we got here, talking about monetization and stuff like that. That was the goal for my channel, was how can I support myself as an income consistently? You might be able to pay the bills one month, but there's going to be them bills come every month. You know, you have to be able to consistently do that. And so that was a big part of why I started camouflaging my words on my channel.
No, that's great. I mean, it's important to think about that stuff.
It is. Yeah. The guidelines, community guidelines, on a lot of these platforms, they are not all the same. TikTok has a very different audience base than YouTube does. I have been learning the change of how we get information just through trial. It was my own experience. Mm-hmm. Who pays for cable anymore?
Sure.
Not me. So I bought a smart TV, threw it up on the wall, just had internet, and I just used my YouTube app on my smart TV. That's what I was watching every day. And so I'm a true crimer. I started watching a lot of true crime stuff, and I kept thinking, I can do that. I can do what they're doing, and I know more about it than they do.
Right.
And so that's how I got to really researching, and for about 2 years, I prepared. But I was working about 70 hours a week in my job, and I just couldn't get the time to dedicate to it. And one day I got up and went to log in, and none of my login stuff worked for my job.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been pulled into, I had got laid off unexpectedly, but my boss continued to pay me. It was 3 of us at my job that got laid off, and they paid us the whole time we were laid off, and we were off for 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't know the day I got laid off that they were going to pay us. The church sign out in the front of my holler said, "Trust God's timing, because it's always perfect."
Oh.
And I said, "Okay, Lord, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you." And about 3 days later, I found out that they were going to pay us while we were off. And I said, "Okay, well, I've been wanting to start this channel. I'm going to start it now. I got time. I got the time, and I got I'm getting paid." So 6 days later, our sheriff shot the judge.
Mm.
And I think I had maybe 4 or 5 shows under my belt
Right.
before that happened. And my show took off.
Now, are you in Letcher County? Okay,
Yeah.
so you're in Letcher County. You're in Letcher County. Okay.
Yeah.
So I imagine, tell me about Letcher County where you live. Is it like small town type stuff, or is it, what's it like? Because I know Southern West Virginia, it's very small town. When stuff like this happens, it explodes locally, and it's very shocking.
It was. I went down with one of my girlfriends. We went down there that night. And I thought that it was going to be just jam-packed, everybody in the county down there. I didn't think we were going to even be able to get in town. I was expecting to have to park up on the highway. And we got there, and it was desolate. I mean, it was a ghost town. There wasn't nobody anywhere. So we go up Main Street and parked and got out and walked up there, and they had it blocked off, roped off, with the crime scene tape and stuff. But they were even, it was like Gestapo. Like if you pulled out your phone, the prosecutor's wife attacked one of the newsmen.
Attacked? Like how?
Well, he had a camera, and I reckon she knocked his camera off his shoulder and put hands on him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But nothing happened. Of course, the police were standing there yelling at him, yelling at the cameraman, like he shouldn't have been up there pulling out his camera, because this is disrespecting the judge. One of Jenny, my lawyer friend, and other people, other attorneys and such were all standing outside the courthouse when this happened, and they pulled out their phone. One person pulled out their phone, and I reckon the judge's brother-in-law started screaming at them, put their phone up, that it was disrespecting the scene.
Right.
And they were just trying to keep everybody, quiet.
Sure.
Just, about the shooting. This is a huge deal. We've never even had this happen nationally, let alone in a small town like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found it very interesting how they were trying to put the narrative on it from the get-go. They were trying to put their clamps down on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And small town mentality. So typically when we see cameras, it's nothing good. And like people get defensive, but now this, obviously the media has free reign to cover the story, to tell the facts, to do whatever. So, it's a shame that someone was attacked. They're just out there doing their job.
It's been one of the things that I've realized throughout this whole thing, and it's all fluid. This is all happening, daily. It's just evolving. A lot of these bigger networks had all of this information a year ago. Most of these victims, when they sent me stuff, all these documents and and their stories of sexual abuse by officials and elected officials and powerful people. When people were sending me this stuff, they were also sending it to all of these networks, and nobody would touch it. None of them. News Nation they were the very first ones that did a little piece of one of the depositions from the Ben Fields case. Sabrina Adkins, right?
Mm-hmm.
They did just a little bit of it. And once they broke that little bit, then it kind of opened it up. Everybody else kind of followed along. Now, I pulled up all the depositions and we read through word for word every single one of them. A lot of these networks weren't doing that. They've got teams of lawyers that are saying, nope. Kind of like what you said when we first started.
Sure.
This is alleged, we're going to go by the documents, but everybody is so scared of accusing somebody of something without proof, without proof. And they've used the playbook of how to discredit these women because of their backgrounds, they were a drug addict, or they were, they stole this, or they lied about that, or, they use that to discredit people. Who's anybody going to believe? They're going to believe somebody like that, or they're going to believe us who were elected to these positions. They got all the friends throughout this whole thing. I think we have seen, a break in that. Like News Nation did that little bit that they did, which opened the door for others to be brave and say, well, okay, well, we'll piggyback off of that. And I've seen, I think Hillbilly Crime paved the way because we let people tell their stories, not being so concerned with that proof. I need that physical proof. But that's why none of these women, that's why this has been allowed to happen and go unspoken for so long.
Sure, yeah.
The thing about that physical proof is it's not that it don't exist. It does.
Mm-hmm.
It does. Many of these people have filed formal complaints. People have went to the KSP and asked for help. People have reported it to the Human Trafficking Network. People have reported it to the FBI, and they're still doing nothing.
Sure.
So people ask me why now? That's why now, because nobody's doing anything.
Right. No, I get it. And I think, obviously networks are careful to not have slander lawsuits and all these different things. And basically how I'm looking at it as, I'm not going to tell you what your experience is.
Right.
I'm going to allow you to share your experience, and I'm going to listen.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. And on that, give me kind of overview of you, Tya. Like, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Letcher County. My sister worked for Edison Banks for 25 years. That's how I came in contact with Kevin, and I knew the other lawyers and other higher ups in town.
He was a Commonwealth attorney.
He was a divorce attorney and stuff first. And then I grew up playing at his feet, and doing office work and things like that, learning how to do office work and stuff.
Swing that mic in front of you if you don't mind. Sorry. In front of your, move it this way.
It goes this way too. Awesome.
Yep. You can swing it towards you and just within a fist and you're good to go.
All the big
Sorry.
That right there, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. You can turn it towards you, whatever makes you comfortable.
It's not cooperating.
It'll actually, hang on. Let me help.
Yes,
One
please.
second.
Oh, wait. How about that? Will that work?
We can do, if it's pointed right at you, about right.
Perfect.
There we go.
Yeah, okay. There we go.
I want to make sure we get.
Yeah.
People get so mad at me for doing that, but I'm just like, I'm sorry. I got to get it right.
We're good.
Gotta get it right.
We're easy.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Okay. So carry on. You was telling me.
So that was whenever I had my first interaction with Kevin. And it was the first of many. And up until I was 20 years old, whenever my mom died, that's when things started going south. And they started to systematically destroy my life. They sent me, I was at my dad's house and the cops showed up and said that they had a court order to take me to detox in Pike County. They took me over there and left me for 17 days. And I came out, they had me on Suboxone. That was the first time I'd ever took Suboxone. And sent me to out-of-state rehab. A week or two after that, I was already back home, out of detox and stuff. Been on the Suboxone, going back to the doctor. And they showed up again to take me to rehab out of state and sent me over to New Beginnings, where I stayed for a year. I did long term there and then did aftercare after, and had to come back and go back to jail in Letcher County for a while. And all this was on a pretrial diversion. I've not even been convicted of a crime at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it still took years and years and years for me to do their drug testing and stuff. I had to go report every month, take all their classes, pay them a fee every month for doing this, for keeping me on their program, just so that they could keep their hooks in me.
Mm-hmm.
I got sober, straightened up for a while. And then whenever I was pregnant with Sadie, I was in the Suboxone clinic and stuff then. And then they used the Suboxone to take her, and they would not let me leave the hospital with that child. I had my baby, and they met me at the door, the social worker, same one that came in that took my first daughter and then my twins at a later date. It was the same social worker.
Mm-hmm.
And said that it was because we had Suboxone in our system. The baby had Suboxone in her system, said I didn't have a valid prescription, but I did. I'd had a prescription the entire time up until like just a couple of weeks before delivery, and that clinic closed. But I was in between doctors, but I'd still had a valid prescription the entire pregnancy.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't have been a problem. But they adopted her out, and I went off the deep end again for a while, got myself straightened back out, had my twins, social services come in on my twins. And I fought them tooth and nail because I knew like I was doing the right things. I knew that I was a good mom. I knew at this point, like, I had got my shit together, like I was living the best I could, but we were not in a good home environment.
Right.
And I finally finished up that pretrial diversion. I finally finished it out, and they let me off probation and everything. Knew I didn't have no warrants or nothing. So I was like, okay, now I can leave. Signed my kids up to go into preschool so that I could start making arrangements to move us out of town. The night that I left and went to Somerset, it's about a 3-hour drive from where we were living. I'd been there for 30 minutes, went out to get cigarettes. The cops pulled in around us, around my truck, took me to jail for a child support warrant that had apparently been issued in the middle of the night. The guy that was over child support is one of the perpetrators that abused me and would have me do things like in his office and for him sexually and stuff up until then.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the one time that I went in and seen him, and he said, I'm just going to take this off your child support payment this month. And
Talking about JH?
No, Harold Bolin.
Okay.
And then I was told that he was dead whenever I got out of prison. I wanted to file charges and stuff. I wanted to file a complaint.
Alive.
Yeah, I just found that out. I just learned that like a week ago, maybe, that he's alive.
So,
yeah.
Well, and thank you. And I'm sorry you've went through so much trauma. It sounds like, so we have addiction episodes regularly on the show. It's so important to talk about. And how I always approach it, I talk about being empathetically accountable. And it sounds like, you admit there's faults, but also you admit that I was also doing the right thing, and I was also taken advantage of.
And that's what gets us here. Now, whenever you look at my case and you start looking at my charges, that's when shit gets real. That's when you start to see what they've been doing. Because, okay, well, first of all, my very first charge on this case that sent me to prison for 12 and a half years. I don't know if you're aware of what happened to me with this, but I gave a girl a Suboxone. They charged me with trafficking. And the child support charge, that same child support charge that Harold Bolin had put on me all those years ago, still is following me. I've got parole until 2099 on it. The look on his face whenever I said that.
No.
Yeah, like
she's not the only one.
Yeah, sure. I'm not the only one.
She's not the only one.
It's outrageous what they're doing.
How many people?
How many are there?
Child support.
Don't know. I know for a fact that 5 that are on that are on parole. They have served out their sentences. Now that's something else. First, they gave me 7.5 years. Is what he told me in court. That's what Judge Jimmy Kraft said I had in court was 7.5 years. I get to prison and find out he added another 5 to it. So I actually had 12.5 years. But they said it was too late. The final judgment had already been filed. There was nothing I could do about it. I just had to do the time. So I did the time. And I waited. I made parole. Got parole upon completion. I did all their SAT programming, their trauma classes, and all that while I was there. Did everything I could to reduce my sentence and to work on myself. I wanted to be a better person. I wanted to come out and get my kids and move on with their lives, And so I get out, And they do a reentry course at the prison where they explain everything, break it all down. This is what your requirements are. This is what your rights are and all these things. So I get this one piece of paper that I signed off on. I get to the parole office in Whitesburg to be handed a different one that said that Judge Jimmy Craft ordered that I do drug court. So
added on
at the end of my sentence. I didn't plead to drug court.
Explain what drug court is for those who may not know. So basically,
it's an intensive program,
alternative sentence. So
alternative
instead of going to jail or prison because it's only in a felony court, instead of going to prison, they will give you a drug court sentence. So they might sentence you to 2 years drug court. But when you agree to take that, you are giving up all rights to have a defense attorney. You are agreeing that you are going to follow their rules and go by all
subject to search and seizures, subject to having them looking through your car. You're not allowed to drink Red Bull. You're not allowed to take some herbal supplements and herbal medicines and things.
It's basically a probation rehab outpatient.
All intensive, all wrapped into one. They make them do meetings and go to group therapies and stuff like that.
Up for failure.
And then they set people up. Yeah.
Well,
and they will revoke you and give they've given, my one friend got 13 years. She did the drug court first. Then they revoked it and took it away from her because she was sleeping with another drug court person. He's an IOP director now. Intensive outpatient probation officer.
Trouble.
She got 13 years.
And up to this point, how long did you, before you got paroled out, how long was that? How long was you
I did jail? 5 years in prison.
5 years in prison? What's that like?
Prison was much better than the county jail. The jail is appalling. Okay. The conditions are horrible. I would not put a raccoon in there, let alone a person. They don't even have a stove. It's riddled with disease. PREA, everybody in there is doing PREA. The guards are doing PREA on so many inmates with each other, inappropriate relationships everywhere.
What's PREA?
What's the Prison Rape Elimination Act? Okay, is what it is. What it's called, and it's the law that's supposed to protect the inmates from inappropriate sexual harassment, things like that. Because at that point, you are considered state property, and you can't consent. So even if it's a consensual relationship, it's still rape in the eyes of the law.
Okay. So to make sure I'm picking that up correctly, people would have relationships and then they would use the PREA law against them? Is that what you mean?
No, they don't use the PREA law.
They don't use the PREA law. Okay.
The law is supposed to be protecting the inmates, but nobody, they don't.
Like Ben Fields.
None of those people were charged with PREA.
Whenever he took his sentencing, got sentenced for doing what he was doing, there wasn't no PREA mentioned in that, which I don't think, which Sabrina, I don't think, well, no, she would have been because she was from drug
house
court.
Arrest. You are still a state inmate. You are still a county inmate, even on house arrest. They are still prison guards. That's the same thing.
Gotcha.
Rehab fits that too. Yeah. Rehabs apply too.
Yeah. Rehabs, any kind of like community, like where you have like people being held against their will. Then you're the responsibility of the state, and they don't give a shit. They don't give them mats. They give you a plastic shell that's got cardboard or clothes stuffed in it. Maybe there was months that we laid down there without mats, no mats, on the concrete.
That's rough.
No TV, no sunlight. They don't take them outside for outside rec. They've got an area on the roof, but they say they can't use it because the cameras are always broke. Nobody will ever fix anything in the jail. They don't have a stove. They get like a Bible study every week if you want to come out and do Bible study. And other than that, like that's your only contact with the outside world. You don't get sunlight. I've got a permanent deficiency from the lack of sunlight and malnutrition that I experienced in that jail.
Every bit.
I have to take supplements. I have an autoimmune disease that's caused by that, by malnutrition, by being, so severely malnourished for so long.
How long ago was that?
I've been out for about 4 years now.
Okay.
But now, like I said, the prison was better.
Right.
That was much better because you get to go outside. You can do rec. They've got like rec things to do for recreation and sports. And, you go take yourself to the doctor, the library. You can get a job. You can do programming. There's a lot of things you can do with your time to make yourself a better person.
Gotcha. Okay. So, you went through drug court?
No.
You did not.
No, I threw a fit.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
threw a fit. And
They
I
tried
had
to
a
make
good
her.
Right.
parole officer, and he was like, yeah, that's not right. And he went back in his office, and then he came back out a few minutes later and said that they agreed that I would have to do aftercare, the drug court aftercare program.
Mhm.
So did they get some kind of funding for making me do that and call in and report to them
Probably.
too? Because I was still having to report to the parole office every month. I had to call this woman every single day in the drug court program
Mhm.
and report to her every day. And then I was taking all the other classes too, like the MRT. I took parenting. I took anger management. I did all the things. November of 2023, I should have served out. That's when I did serve out. My time is done. I went to pick up my gold seal and get my release papers, and they said, no, we're not going to release you. And I still didn't find out it was until 2099 for a long time after that.
Mhm.
And I just recently, a few months back, found out that the child support that they're holding me on, my child's never received $1 of it, not one dime, and they charge interest. And then a couple days ago, I got a new letter in the mail. They take our taxes every year too, and they have for
Sure.
they have for
Mhm.
a long time. They've been taking our taxes.
Garnish wages.
So I get another letter Friday that said that I still owe $21,000. I've got 20 days to pay it, or they're going to start taking my tax refunds. It's like, okay, well, they already take them, first of all. But what? So what if I don't give them $20,000? They're going to put me in prison for life? Is
Mm.
that what they're trying to do? They're
can't
just trying
work
to
out
scare
like-
me?
You can't do like a payment plan?
I've never missed a payment.
That's
Okay,
why
so you've
they
never missed
already
the
got
payment.
it set up.
Okay.
Never missed a payment.
Gotcha. So you get out. What's your? Are you trying to get a job? Like, how do you get back on your feet once you get out of the?
We have a
system?
farm. We've got, and so I just like buckled down on like the whole, I guess you call it trad wife thing. Like I was a farm wife, homemaker, trying to just stay sober
Mhm.
and build a family, build a home.
We're trying
With
to
my husband.
figure out how to make social media,
Accessible for more
Income-
people and
well-
incomes for,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured it out. That's what I want for these women. That's what I want for these women. I want them to be able to figure it out too. And it's just, we're learning. I thought, well, I can teach her everything I know about YouTube, and she'll be able to do what I'm doing, and get an in and be able to have produce this income every month to pay her bills, get on her
Yeah.
feet. Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Sure.
I saw really quickly her content does better on TikTok.
Mhm.
She knows more about TikTok than
just because I've been doing it a little bit longer.
Right.
I've got
It's
more
just
followers and
practice.
stuff there. So
yeah, it's just practice.
yeah.
But her stuff is resonating better on TikTok. So it's not even I can't teach her nothing.
Well, we're
She's
getting the views
teaching
on
me.
YouTube, but we're not able to monetize yet because of the watch hours and stuff.
Right.
And then I called and sent in a complaint to tell him, like, my watch hours are not calculating and my followers are not calculated. I'll get a notification, 10 new followers, but then it doesn't calculate and add to the.
No, I got you.
So I don't know what's going on.
I mean, it's
So
like any
maybe
business.
eventually,
It's like
but-
any business. You work to build things up.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure we don't lose sight of the important part. Obviously we want everyone to take care of themselves, but sharing your honest story.
Yeah.
And letting people know. Now, of course, we don't excuse murder on this show. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Right.
What comes out in court. I don't want people to get that misconstrued, but it's a very complicated case already, and there's a lot of different accounts coming out. And did you have any run-ins after you got out, or was
Mhm.
your run-ins before prison?
It was before, but then I did go and see Kevin one time since I got out. Whenever I first got out, he had my daughter on pretrial diversion.
Mhm.
She has been in that pretrial diversion program since 2022. And she's done IOP 3 times and finished long-term rehab twice, and they refused to release her from it.
Gotcha. How was that?
So that's whenever I went and seen Kevin the last time I seen him, it was to try to do something about that. Like, this is not okay. You can't have my daughter.
How'd it go?
I mean, he still had her right up until they
So,
What did he say?
was that
till Mickey did his
interaction
thing.
a typical interaction
And now
that you would
she's-
have in court? Was there some kind of exchange there too, or was that like when you dealt with him this most recent time? Was that just?
I seen him in court that day, but I did go out around to the side of the building though and talk to him where he would go out and smoke and stuff, and then I made up with him later on at a strip job.
Okay, so let's
do the favor.
Oh, that day. So
you favored that day, the last time you saw him.
Yeah.
Okay. And
then he didn't release her. He didn't let her off the diversion. He just
he had
didn't do
you.
nothing.
He had you do the favor, and then he didn't do his.
And then he didn't do his part. Yeah.
This is the man we're talking about. This is the kind of character of the man that we're talking about.
So,
Judge Kevin Mullins.
How does that happen? Is there like a word exchange, like, "Hey, I'll meet you here," or
come see me, we'll take care of it?
Is that how it went? Okay. And then you met where at?
At a strip job.
At a strip job? Okay.
It's like an old, used to be I don't know if it was logging road or mine or what.
Like a surface mine?
Yeah, old mountain road.
Okay, so that happens, and then nothing happens in court. It's just kind of, what do you do to move on from that? Like, what do you do? Do you just go to work?
My daughter money to rehab and work the farm and go on with our lives.
Right.
See, that's the thing. Like, I can see the look on your face. You're like, how do you even move on from something like that?
Sure.
Could you imagine?
I couldn't imagine.
Could you imagine being up there and after you stick your mouth on that nasty, stinky, old dirty thing and you do your part of the bargain, and then you turn around and leave, and then he don't even do what he said he was gonna do? Can you imagine just the feeling of
degradation?
I can. Yeah. Now I didn't have that situation happen, but I've been in her shoes. I've had this kind of thing. I've done it myself. So I know how that feels. I know how that feels on the inside. And the only thing that can heal that is God.
Yeah.
That's a spiritual healing. And me and Ty, we are two women out of Appalachia. And this has been happening to more women than you can count.
For decades.
Most of them have been married. Their husbands didn't know that they were getting that proposition. They've got children. They sure don't want their kids. So if they come forward now, their husband's going to know what they did. And then their kids are going to know what mommy had to do.
Yeah.
A lot of women don't want to do that. I can't tell you how many people have come forward to me, but they don't want their name out there. They don't want to come forward.
They're still afraid of retaliation too.
They just want me to know.
Sure. Yeah.
To know that what I'm doing is not in vain. There's a whole lot. There's a secret majority. There's a silent majority out there.
There's a lot of silent victims
in this county.
How many have came out publicly?
Publicly,
there was quite a few that did before, and they got retaliated against. They got ran out of town, sent on off to prison. Some people have been killed. Some are still missing.
Yeah.
There's a total probably of hundreds of victims. I've got about
in Letcher County,
15 or 20 silent ones.
People have just now started listening. That's what I was telling you.
Like,
people
it's not that I'm the first one to come forward. Many have. There's been formal complaints. People have went to the FBI. People have went to the KSP. People have went to other counties and other states and asked for help. And nobody will come and help us.
But it's so unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's so unbelievable that this would even be happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, most people are like, yeah, right.
I'll show you my messages and stuff. It's just message after message after message after message after message on TikTok, on Messenger, Facebook, from victims saying, please keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop. Don't give up on us. Everybody else has given up on us. Don't stop doing what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, and you all are so vulnerable because you're trying to get back into society. Like, I see how this happens. I can't fathom it happening, and it's so disgusting to even hear. But I can see how some of these communities, people get in a power trip, and then you got a couple buddies, and they start working together. Like, I can see how it could be systematic.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is systematic.
Sure.
It's
It
a
is.
brotherhood.
It's prison for profit. It's programming for profit because each of those classes you have to pay to take those
Yeah.
classes. You
Right.
give them money for your books. You pay them money to take the class. You have to pay for the transportation to get there.
Mhm.
It's then you pay them their fees every month and the court costs and the restitution. My restitution didn't go to my victim. It went to the state.
And then they're going to send you to the rehab, Tim Robinson's ARC. Well, they've took your food
Medicaid
stamps
fraud and stuff.
they've already went, and the jail and these rehabs, they'll go to Walmart or whatever. Used to, your family could take you and you buy whatever you needed, and then you took all your stuff in there with you yourself, or your family would bring it to you. Not anymore. They found a way to make their money. So you have to buy everything from their shop. So we're going to go to Walmart and we're going to buy all this stuff, and then we're going to bring it back in. And allegedly what they were doing they were taking their food stamps, which for rehab, this is a common practice, long time common practice, but they didn't do this. They'd take their food stamps, go to Walmart, buy Kit Kats and Monsters and all this
And then
stuff,
sell
and
it
then
for
they
cash.
bring them back and put them in their store and mark it up, 5 times what they paid for it with these people's food stamps now.
Oh, goodness.
And
Doing
then-
the doctors the same way, or paying for the doctor the same way with the insurance, and then having people come in and pay cash for your medicine, even though your medical card's already paid for it. So they're pocketing the cash.
I got you. Okay.
This stuff has been going on for so long. But when you've got a judge in the courthouse that'll make sure if any kind of lawsuits are coming, if you've got a prosecutor, if you've got a judge, and if they've been there for as many years as what they have, and this systemic, I was getting ready to say, this brotherhood, it's this brotherhood that kind of gets put in place. And the next thing you know, you've got, wow.
Protect each other at
if he's
everybody
doing
else's
it,
expense.
Yeah, if he's doing it, I can do it too, or this one's got some videos and pictures on their phone. Hey, you want to see something? Let me show you something. And it spreads.
Right.
It spreads.
So when this did you file a complaint? Like, who do you go to? Like, do you
Good
go to the state
question.
Not
police, or you to go?
I heard that Mickey went to the state police and asked for an investigation, was told no.
That's where so that, if we want to
So you heard that. So we don't know that for a fact.
No,
Don't
that
know that
was
for
in
a
the
fact.
deposition.
That was in the
Is
deposition.
in the deposition
Yes.
of whose deposition? His?
in the civil case with
Against Ben
Sabrina
Fields.
Adkins.
Gotcha.
Those depositions, Mickey was asked, and it was in there that he had asked state police whenever he got the phone call from, that's how he found out about the civil suit in the first place. A
Mhm.
reporter called the sheriff's department and asked him for a comment on the civil suit. Later that evening, Judge Jimmy Kraft and Robbie Kinser, who are over the drug court program, came over to his office. He says it in the deposition that they came over and apologized for not telling him that they had already been told about Ben.
Gotcha. Okay. So for those that are out there, like, I wanted to get to Tya's story first because I don't want her to just sit here and listen to us talk about the case. Thank you for sharing. And you can add in like any kind of tidbit or anything you want, Tya. This is totally, I'm here to listen. Like I mentioned, I think we need to, Elizabeth, kind of walk through what happened and then take it from the beginning to where we are now. Just one thing at a time.
It is.
I have a video of the attorney general being asked for the human trafficking network and him blowing them off.
Yeah.
What is it, like a street video of like
It
someone?
was at a political
TikTok.
rally.
Show it.
Let's see if we can turn the volume up.
I was one of the first people to start talking about the situation in Letcher County where the girls had been taken advantage of by
You'll
those
see his face.
deputies. I spoke with your detectives. There's more girls that are coming out speaking about it now. And I was just curious, like, when your detectives came to do an interview, like, those girls are basically being human trafficked. Is there any way we can get, like, a human trafficking unit out there to kind of
Tremont, this young lady, this is Tremont Banks. He's deputy commissioner of those detectives.
Okay.
She wants to talk about an investigation ongoing out in Letcher County. It's human trafficking related issue. Why don't you chat with him?
Okay.
We ultimately, prosecuting that is the county attorney or the Commonwealth attorney's responsibility. We can investigate it.
Do you realize the Commonwealth attorney is the judge's brother-in-law?
I want you to talk to our detectives,
Okay.
and I need to know all the facts before we make those prosecutorial decisions. There are ways we can come in, but I have to know all the facts first before we make those decisions.
Yes.
And the way we convey those is through our detective.
He should have already had these facts. He already
do
does have
she
the
sat down
facts.
with the detective, I think, after that and had a conversation.
That was his
And,
detective
and yeah, like they said, the Commonwealth attorney
who
one responsible,
prosecuted
who
Ben
is supposed
Fields.
to be on there. That this person is supposed to be on there, shaming the victims. He's supposed to be a victim's advocate, and he was appointed to sit
Unbelievable.
sit in that position.
So
And he's
listen,
shaming victims and telling us stop embarrassing his family.
right? Which I don't know. This guy, like what
our
I heard
attorney
there
general.
was
That
like,
was the attorney general there.
okay,
Himself.
well, what I heard was like, well, I understand talking to detectives. There's probably not much really he could say there anyway. I'm just playing the devil's advocate here. So, but so after that, did she reach out to the detectives? And
Yes.
then, okay, when was that?
This has just been about when did I do your first show?
About a month ago.
It was right around that same time.
Okay, a month ago. So
Yeah, that's recent.
we got kind of, I mean, like,
That's
we
not
have-
the first time that they've been to see him though.
sure.
Other
Oh, I
people have
got you.
too.
Well, yeah. I don't know.
That's
like,
what,
I mean,
they're just like, oh well, that's on them. That's them to handle. Like, who's them? Because they're part of it.
sure.
Like, who
Well,
would ask for help?
I mean,
you know?
as we know, the legal system is dreadfully slow, but also funny business goes on sometimes, and we got to make sure and look out for that. And I understand. Like, I could only imagine how traumatic this is for you, and everyone's frustrated,
Mhm.
and it all just meets ahead, and here we are. Hopefully, we're on our way to some truth being shed, and I think part of that is you ladies coming out and telling your story like you have been. So thank you for that. So I did like a 30-minute overview, and I'm embarrassed for you to even watch it, Elizabeth. It's such a very light overview of like, here's the basics. And I did this like, I don't know, 6 months ago, or right around the time it was a couple months after it happened.
I bet it's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. But I want to start from you. Like, how everyone else heard about it was we saw this video, allegedly. I mean, he's on video and goes in the judge's chambers and then ends up shooting Kevin Mullins, and he dies. And that court case has not occurred yet. I think they had one hearing.
Well, they just had a hearing the other day, last week.
Yeah.
They, I think they're looking for I think they're going to end up I think this is my opinion. I think that they're going to end up signing a plea deal to put him in a hospital.
Right.
That's what I think is going to end up happening. Mental health.
Sure.
Mental
And
illness.
is he giving a reason yet? Like saying, because I know at the time he said, what, be easy on me, fellas. He did a couple different things, and it was, there's a lot of
Trying to
speculation
kidnap
flying.
my wife and kid.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he said that on the body cam?
Yeah.
Okay. They're trying to
He
kidnap.
also withdrew a large amount of money that day too, didn't he? Or the day
the
before?
day before, yeah.
To
How
pay
much money,
somebody
do we
off,
know?
to give to
$9,000.
somebody?
That was someone was in line behind him in the bank that reached out to me. So we're hearing that secondhand, but
So there's no documentation yet of that.
no.
Gotcha.
But the lady said, she was behind him in line at the bank, and you can hear if somebody's in front of you, and said that he asked to withdraw $9,000.
Yeah. And do we know if that's going to be released in court, or like if it's, we don't really
Don't
know.
know.
No,
Okay,
we
so-
don't know what's going to come in.
Sure.
And if they do a plea bargain, the way that a lot of this is going to go down, none of this would even come in a trial. They would do a motion to have, because it wouldn't even be relevant to the case. You know, a lot of the stuff like
Why-
Tya and stuff like that would not come into this
Sure.
case.
In Sabrina's deposition, though, her and another girl that was Kevin's victim
Mhm.
testified against him and said that they were either sleeping with him or that she was watching him do it to another girl, to another inmate.
So that was
And they
Sabrina.
still did not open an investigation after that.
Okay, let's talk about Sabrina. So I did mention Sabrina lightly, and she was on recordings talking about this stuff happening.
She's the plaintiff.
And the
in
other
civil
girl
case.
that was in that case has been killed.
So she is the plaintiff of a civil case that she has brought against the county. Is that correct?
It's against Ben Fields
Okay.
and against Mickey Stines.
And Ben Fields is
the deputy. He was Mickey Stines' deputy and he was Kevin Mullins' bailiff, court bailiff. He
Mhm.
was the one that was over house arrest and was putting the ankle monitors on the girls who were given house arrest. He was sexually abusing and coercing these women into it. So as they would get released to home incarceration, he would proposition them and say, well, you know, if you can't never pay the fee for your ankle monitor, which was like $85 a week, we'll work something out.
that's a car payment.
Work it out, take it out and
Uh-huh.
trade.
$85 a week. Wow.
That was for house arrest,
Yeah.
the fee. So Jennifer Hill says, no, okay, well, no, thank you. You know, I have a husband and we can pay for my ankle monitor.
Sure.
Appreciate it, but no thanks.
Right.
She goes home. Her husband pays her ankle monitor. She goes home that night. He put out an escape warrant
Didn't
or
her
something.
husband try to report it
He,
too?
I'm not sure.
I think
but,
he went to the sheriff's office and tried to report
oh yeah,
it.
yeah. He did. He's the one that reported it at the end. But this night, she's just now getting out on home house arrest,
Mhm.
and he goes out and arrests her and takes her back to jail. She stayed in jail for 3 months after that. She gets out. She goes on. Next year, she gets arrested again on something else. She goes back into jail. They give her house arrest again. This time, Ben propositions her, and she takes him up on it because she knows if she don't, he's going to come put her back in jail, just like he did last year.
Right.
So she knows better than to turn him down. Now we are talking, it goes beyond coercion there, you know.
Where is
Now-
he now?
Well, he served his 6 months.
Okay, and he
in
got
jail.
convicted of what was the exact charge?
Sexual abuse, I guess.
Some kind of
I'm
sexual
not even-
assault.
Perjury. He was charged. There were 3 or 4 charges that he pled guilty to.
Mm-hmm.
He, and I don't even think that they dropped anything. Like whatever they charged him with, I'm pretty sure he pled guilty to. Like I don't think there was
They
any
didn't amend it.
negotiation.
So it was kind of open and shut. Like, here's the evidence, and then he's like, "Well, I got to
He
plea."
even
But-
Right.
didn't they have him confess into part of it
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something?
yeah.
They scapegoated him.
He pled guilty,
Yeah.
right? I mean, he also see. This is where I think it turns into a much larger problem.
Mm-hmm.
Sabrina's own lawyers, Ned Pillersdorf. He's the one that went in and negotiated that plea. He's the one that was on the other end of that, right? Well, I think that while talking and negotiating, because they had to file the civil suit first,
Mm-hmm.
because Sabrina had the proof. She had the ankle bracelet that hadn't never been put on yet. Like she had the text messages proving between her and Ben this relationship. And so they couldn't get a criminal investigation from nobody. They filed the civil suit. Ned, from what he says on his interviews, he goes to the attorney general and asks for help. He says that normally they're not jumping to help him.
Mm-hmm.
But on this one, they did. That makes me very suspicious right there,
Mm-hmm.
because they're going to control it. As long as they got their hands in it on both sides, they're going to be able to control how that goes and where it goes. why was the judge not named in that civil lawsuit? It was his chambers that this was happening in. You know, and in an official capacity, he still could have been named because that's his responsibility to make sure that his chambers are not used in that form, you know, for people to come abuse the inmates.
Sure.
He was responsible for those chambers. I mean, I don't know how anybody even makes the argument of not naming him in there officially, right? We're not saying that he knew what Ben was doing. We're saying those chambers were his responsibility.
Sure, yeah. Like
officially.
How someone gets hurt at Walmart, you sue Walmart.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. Like you're responsible for this section of the courthouse.
And as we have watched these videos and as they have unfolded, we also see the kind of environment that Judge Mullins created in his chambers. I mean, there's a smoke room, then you've got the chambers. You don't smoke in a federal building, like in a state building. There's no smoking, but they smoked all through the Letcher County Courthouse, still do.
Mm-hmm.
Even after all this, you'd think that people would kind of put the misbehavior down, the misconduct. No, honey, they're still going balls to the wall.
What's the population? I haven't looked it up.
2,200.
I think I had that.
Not a lot.
22,000, I think, for the whole county.
For the whole county? Okay, so small county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So it's important to know that backstory to kind of set this thing up. So the shooting happens. He gets taken to jail. Says be easy on me, fellas. And what starts to unfold after that? Like, what is the initial thoughts? Like, I know his daughter was mentioned, and there's some different things, which I think she came out. Didn't she come out recently and say that she has never talked to Kevin Mullins? Okay, so I want to clarify that. But what starts happening?
Well, after the shooting, is that what you mean?
Yeah, after he's taken in, and then it's very lightly told on the national level, not really at all, until Tya's interview really is not. I learned about you because of the News Nation interview.
Yeah. Bryanton and them.
And now it's starting to get a lot of traction.
Yeah.
Did you read Mickey Stines' deposition?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what were the main points from that stuck out to you?
Because he didn't throughout the entire thing. Now, the deposition was 3 days before he shot Judge Mullins. He sat for his deposition on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
He shot Kevin on Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day it was.
Gotcha. Okay.
The 19th. Ben Fields had set for his deposition the Friday before that. So they were just now getting these depositions done. Just now, right before the shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very hot button, issue.
A lot of emotions.
Yeah. Well, after Ben was pled guilty and he got 6 months. Like that was what they negotiated for him. And he should never have been able to do it in Letcher County Jail, where his wife was the top deputy. So they give him the drunk tank. They turn that into his cell. They give him a big screen TV on the wall. They give him a brand new bed. He didn't get the plastic shell that the rest of these people got. He got a great big thick mattress. He didn't have to sleep on the concrete like everybody else. He was immediately made a trustee as soon as he come in because he's a state inmate. So he's given trustee status immediately, which means his cell never gets locked. He's not on lockdown. He had a pack of cigarettes up at the guard shack that anytime he wanted to smoke, he could come up there and smoke. His wife could come in and lay down right in the bed with him and sleep there all night if she wanted to.
How do we know all this? Is this what the workers have been saying, or?
I've heard it from former and current employees.
Gotcha.
I've
And
heard
other
it from inmates. Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And it wasn't one of those situations like, I know like some places when they get a CO or a cop or somebody that's been arrested that they keep them like separated for safety issues. It wasn't nothing like, I'm just trying to figure out what their rebuttal would be. I mean, has this stuff been brought up or has anyone spoke publicly to them?
I spoke to the jailer,
right.
The former jailer. Like, we know these people.
Oh, gotcha. Did they
know?
do an interview with you?
Well, no, but
okay.
like we were messaging back and forth as soon as, like the first few times I even spoke about the jail, the former jailer, Bert Sloan, reached out to me and he was like, I can't believe you said that on there. You're embarrassing me. And I said, well, you should be embarrassed.
Mm.
You should be. You know, you're the one that made him a trustee. Like, what would ever make you think that this man was trustworthy that just pled guilty
to
sexually abusing the inmates? And you're going to, he said, well, he was a great guy. He was he said he was reliable. He was dependable. That's exactly what Mickey Stines said.
But he was raping your inmates.
He was dependable. He was reliable. He was a good dude. He also worked for 10 years in the jail while Mickey Stines worked 10 years as Judge Mullins' bailiff.
Mm-hmm.
So they worked side by side with these people for over 10 years before Mickey ever ran for sheriff. When Mickey ran and won the sheriff spot, then they pulled Ben out of the jail and made him Judge Mullins' new bailiff.
Mm.
So they had they worked with this man for 10 years before Mickey became sheriff.
Yeah.
Right? And Mickey was the one who did the house arrest before Ben. So Mickey kind of gave Ben, he passed it on down to Ben, house arrest and the bailiff position.
Whew.
They all know each other.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
Got promoted to upstairs bailiff now too.
And yeah, that's what I was getting at. So after after he spends his 6 months in jail, that was, Judge Mullins is alive. So I'm sure that he probably ate lunch with, I mean, he probably had the run of the
meal.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
But so after he does his 6 months, Ben's wife, had also been working at the jail this whole time for 10 years, 12 years, worked side by side with Ben. That's how they met. She was married to somebody else. Well, her and Ben start having sex upstairs in the courthouse after work. And then she goes home to her husband. Well, she eventually divorces her husband and marries Ben. Now it's all through this courthouse. Everybody's just everybody's having an affair, or it's just unbelievable.
Surely there's some good people in this courthouse. We got.
I'm sure there are.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm sure there are.
I just want to clarify. There's got to be someone.
I'm sure there are.
And the thing is, even the good ones that saw what was going on, I think there was too much fear for them to say something.
Oh, well, you get that with small communities, which is very
Especially
unfortunate. That's why the
retaliation.
stuff's so hard.
But they're always whispering behind the back.
Sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But just nobody's going to say nothing to your face. So after Ben does these 6 months and his wife has worked there the whole same time, length of time, Judge Mullins gives her a promotion and takes her from out of the jail into his courtroom. Mm-hmm. So now she's working with juvenile, family court, all this. She gets a promotion and a raise. And
state benefits.
And now she's working in the courtroom with Judge Mullins. That day, the same video that we see of the shooting, Mickey walking through the smoke room, walking out that door, you see Ben's wife sitting right there, right next to him. Angie Fields was right there in those videos all day of the shooting. She's in there in the smoke room with her hair up in a ponytail. And I said, well, how comfortable do you think that had to make Mickey? Here Mickey is dealing with this investigation, with this deposition, all this stuff. And I bet you Ben is right there on his wife's medical insurance. I bet he's still benefiting from his wife's new job and medical benefits. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's unbelievable when we started pulling out the audits and we started digging down in just how much like the city pays for their employees' benefits, their retirement,
It's
their
expensive.
insurance,
Mm-hmm.
but it ain't on the people.
Right.
The city's paying it all.
Mm.
Like, you would not believe how much of the benefits are paid by
City Hall.
these monies. I say that Eastern Kentucky is the white collar crime capital of the world. If we had just one would help, forensic accountant to come in and actually look at a lot of these finances, whether it be city, state, nonprofit,
The child support.
for-profit, child support, you name it. We
Yeah.
need forensic accountants desperately.
Well, let's talk about that. So with less population becomes less oversight.
Yes.
So literally takes a handful of people get into some of these places, sometimes less.
Yes.
I've known of counties where one person knows how much the whole county has in the bank account. You know what I mean? It just depends on the person, and all it takes is for that poison to get in the system, and it just starts sprouting, and it's very hard to find because most people there are just struggling, trying to make it day by day, pay their bills, and live life, and they don't really necessarily want to hear about what Susie Q and Johnny Joe are doing, but we all like gossiping. But when stuff like this pops up,
This ain't gossip.
this
isn't gossip. This is criminal.
This is life and death. This is.
Yeah.
I have said it. I've been ringing the bell for the last year. This is the largest organized crime syndicate. Like, we're talking about equal to the New York Mafia, if not larger. I know that sounds kind of silly.
It doesn't sound silly to me at all.
What we are looking at is the corruption has been bred into it's bred into the fabric of our community through generations, right? It's generational wealth. It's generational control. All the people that had the control in these little coal towns 3 generations ago, as the generations have come down, that wealth has also come down. So they have controlled outside resources, outside everything. Like, we were coming here and we were like, oh my gosh, look at all of the restaurants and just all of the stores and all of the business just right up here.
Nestled into a mountain.
Yeah.
At home, we don't have any of that. You've got one restaurant, one, and they can jack the prices up to where I can't go through the drive-thru with my 2 kids without spending $35.
Sure.
Just for one meal.
Yeah. Well, and that's important to talk about because, there can be several factors, but often there is a board and they decide
City council.
what happens.
Who comes in and
you
who
got the
don't.
city council. Yeah. Often you'll have that, and people have held certain things out of their community for different reasons. Some nefarious, some not. But yeah, I see what you're saying, and the majority of the landowners, if it's not corporate owned, is people like you said pass their land to their family, and they do different things, and that gives you a lot of power in a small community.
Here's what what I've been uncovering. You know how many land and property disputes and stuff has been going on? People's property that has been stolen. If you've got a judge and you've got a lawyer, honey, you can take anything from anybody.
Right.
You can take anything from anybody.
That's happening to a lot of people.
And when you've got people who then go hire the fixer in the town, and so you've got the fixer as your lawyer. Your fixer has just figured out a way to milk you for as much lawyer fees as they can possibly get. Like, where do you go when you can't even trust your own lawyer? Your lawyer.
The one you pay.
Sure.
Because they're selling you out behind the scenes. They're getting money from this one, and they're taking your money too. And one certain person might have a whole library of tapes of everybody in town.
Mm-hmm. Who are we speculating that would be? Or do you? Who has it?
I know who has it.
Okay.
I know who has a collection.
Okay. Well, we'll keep their name private. Yeah.
Well, no.
Or public.
Well, you've got one really, really important person that allegedly has an entire library collection of blackmail videos.
Oh, gotcha.
Of all sexual natured stuff that is.
And then you got the courthouse videos that the other person's holding on to.
You know,
all he asked for was a change in venue. That one guy, he's in jail right now. He asked for a change of venue to hand over all of his tapes, his security footage of inside the courthouse that's got the other higher ups and stuff in there doing their dirty deeds. And the only thing he asked for was a change of venue.
So
they're a different judge, and they said no.
So
he held on to him.
They're saying that there's video of the judge chambers of certain acts going on inside the chambers.
Sabrina, in her, they had a deposition, but then they also gave her a proffer, right? You know, a proffer is where they can have an interview with the detectives, with the police, and they can say they can tell, you know, usually if they want proof, or, you know, it has to be something that they know, specific or whatever. Mm-hmm. The proffer, from what I understood of it, anything goes. You know, if they've heard it through somebody else, or, you know, if it was just something that they found secondhand, you know, or whatever, they were allowed to tell that. So she tells in this proffer, it was recorded, it was with the Attorney General, it was public record.
Gotcha.
Where was I going with that?
I don't know.
Or what is that when she told about the tapes?
The tapes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's okay.
She said that she saw a video of Judge Mullins having sex with a girl for her charges. And he said, "What? How do you know?" And she said, "Well, I know, I've been in front of him. I know what he looks like, you know." Allegedly, Brown, what's his name? Chad Brown. He was a man who went through the court system on some drug charges. He was, it was a front page newspaper thing, you know, big drug deal,
big bust.
Yeah, it was big bust.
Big meth bust.
Well, he was facing a big bunch of charges. He supposedly had the tapes. And so they reached out to him through his attorney. I reckon the Attorney General's office did, trying to get these tapes for this case, right? For Sabrina's and Ben's case. Well, from what I understood, they asked for a deal, you know, help him on his charges. And they said, "Oh, no. We're not helping you with nothing. We just want these videos." And they said, "Kick rocks, because we ain't giving you nothing."
Well,
you know,
that's what what I was saying. The only thing he asked for was a different judge. He didn't even ask for help on his charges. He just wanted a different official. That's all he wanted. I will give these to you if you will just move me to a different courtroom.
And they didn't even say that in the thing.
Yeah, they wouldn't even let.
They didn't even say that.
Make it look like he was just using it as a bargaining tool.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. He was just trying to protect himself because he knows what's going to happen. They're going to take him and destroy him or something.
But they're bargaining with anybody else over everything else. They ain't going to bargain with him. Why not? Because they didn't want that investigation to go no further. Back to the Ben Field. So I think when Ned Pillersdorf came in there and was discussing all of this with the Attorney General's office, I mean, we've got the audios. He's sitting there. You can't even hear one of Sabrina's interviews with the detective because you got Ned Pillersdorf and the other detective sitting there right beside, and they just chat back and forth with each other over the weather and whatever. And in the mean, you've got Sabrina sitting right there trying to give this a recorded interview with the detective, and you can't even hear the recording very well. All you can hear is Ned and this other
I pulled a
guy.
clip from it. Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's
Disrespectful. It was unprofessional.
sure.
And the way that detective narrated everything that Sabrina or Jennifer said. Oh, so you saw an opportunity. Oh, so he flirted with you and you saw a chance not to have to pay your fines. Oh, you saw an opportunity to start flirting back, huh? Like, instead of this, laying the blame where this needs to be laid at, like, you can't blame her or anybody else for playing the rules that you put down in front of them. We already saw Jennifer Hill couldn't tell you no.
Lots of people did tell him no and still got punished
got put
anyway
to
and got
jail.
railroaded anyway. I know we have a lot of victims like that that's been a victim of the system because they turned him down.
And you try laying your precious little head on a concrete floor and sleep there all night and day, every day after day after day after day. I'd like to see one of these suits go down there and stay one day in the Letcher County jail in the hole. That's what justice would be.
Oh, quarantine seems like hell.
Ugh.
It's beyond quarantine.
Could you
like-
imagine quarantine in the Letcher
It's
County
beyond
jail?
I mean,
quarantine.
on
there's no TV. You're lucky if you get a book, get your hands on a book. Somebody might slide you a piece of a newspaper clipping up under your door if your name pops up in the paper or something. Hear an occasional trustee down the hallway.
So how does it work? Is it like a 23-in-1 situation when you're
No, you don't
brought
have.
into?
You don't even have a one.
You don't even have a one.
You
It's
don't
just
even have a one. You're 24
until you're
in
brought into general population.
No,
or
there ain't no general or
it's just-
population. It ain't what you see on TV.
Okay.
It's different at Letcher County.
It's
There's
not much
very
bigger
small
than this.
cells. The women's cell, the main women's cell, has 8 bunks, and there was 42 of us in there at
oh
one
my!
time.
You're in the
goodness.
floor.
In the floor, piled up
over
on top of each other, where you're
other.
literally walking on people's mats and stepping over
and
bodies.
you got one toilet right
People
there
sleeping
in the middle
underneath
of
the
whole
table.
thing.
How is that legal?
Exactly. How's that legal?
How is that legal? It's not.
But they're
It's
down there applying to take more inmates so they can get more money. They're already on top of each other. I mean, and
They got mats drug out and like laid out in the visitation booth and stuff sometimes because there's not enough space in the cells for people. So they use the other rooms in the jail to put mats in and stuff so they can pile in more people.
And I know I have to apologize.
No, you don't.
Yeah. There have been, it's not just us, but we have been trying to get people to hear this for so freaking long, for so many years. So many years. Like screaming this from the rooftop.
For decades.
Right, slamming it
Literally.
right up in
since
people's
70s and 80s
faces.
is when this
And we're
started.
talking about the legal people now. FBI, Attorney General, Sheriff. I mean, you name it. People have been doing this I've been working on mine for 15 years, about 10 years. So I know there's a lot of us have been trying to get the attention of somebody that would do something about this. And now that we've actually got people listening,
there's a lot to tell.
No.
and we
what it's
just
for.
interrupt and we talk so much and we put so much out and it doesn't sound right and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And that's our
No, it makes total. Listen, it's a lot. It's complicated,
It is.
and why it's such a blessing to have people like you is like you're just a shining light, Elizabeth. And when you talk and you just hear the genuine words come out of your mouth, and it's really important that people do this. I don't care if someone used to be an addict. I don't like, how long have you been sober? I think that is absolutely
15 years.
hell yeah. I mean, sorry, Lord, but congratulations. That's something to be proud of because it's
about
hard.
Function.
It's
Yeah.
about
We were just
function,
talking about
responsible use, and of plant medicine. Plant medicine has saved me. Like herbalism, that's whenever I got real sick, I dove into the herbs, and it has helped me break my other addictions and
Good for you, like a
other things
holistic
too.
type thing, or is
Yeah.
it like
I use everything from mushrooms to lavender and wild lettuce and California poppy and stuff for pain. That's how I manage my pain through
yeah,
through the autoimmune disease and stuff that I have.
right.
And the mushroom therapy, though, that is what has really broken the chains of addiction.
How
for
long
me.
have you been sober?
I've
Going this
had
time?
a couple of lapses since I've been out of prison, but I've not been using since I got out.
Oh, okay.
And let's
good.
and let's clarify that.
Sure.
A lapse.
So everybody wants to talk
Or in
about
recovery.
This is where just we're learning. We are just now learning all this too. But one of the big misconceptions, I think, is this sober versus not
Abstinence
sober.
and prohibition doesn't
Right.
work.
Abstinence is
Maintenance and responsible.
abstinence is you're going to come to rehab and you're not going to take no Suboxone, you're not going to take no methadone, you're not going to take nothing. You are cold turkey. You're not going to drink no caffeine. You're not going to smoke. That's abstinence. Cut
Right.
it all cold turkey. Well, that didn't work for me. I went to rehab 10 times. It didn't work. I graduated them all. I did great until I went home and went right back into the same environment that I had came from until my mental illness, flared up and until life happened, another time I had a baby. Well, when I had a baby, I had a cesarean. They sent me home with 90 Percocets with 3 refills. I was on a Dilaudid drip in the hospital having a baby. It woke up that monster. We're always going to have something happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Suboxone saved my life. It didn't work, or she's
It got me
not
off of
on.
oxys and stuff back in the days, but then I had just as hard a time coming off the Suboxone. It almost killed me. I about did not make it
So
through.
everybody has to find their own.
Yeah.
It's about being functional. It's about being productive. It's about being able to get up.
They're going to try to bring Ibogaine to Kentucky, though.
I
Have
don't
you
care
seen
if
that?
you got to use
You know about
Ibogaine.
Ibogaine?
I don't. I know very little.
It's an amazing drug. It's a plant,
new treatment,
and
well,
it's
new,
a treatment for addiction. It can cure addiction in one
but
treatment.
it was outlawed.
And it was outlawed. It got
was
grouped in the same
outlawed?
class with other psychedelics, and other psychedelics as well are good with treating addiction, depression, PTSD, multiple sclerosis, other kinds of sclerosis diseases.
They said
All those things are
ketamine was a
wonderful.
good treatment for
They're giving that now in Kentucky.
ketamine.
It's called something else. Yeah, but you can go in
It's medically assisted.
and you take your dose there at the doctor and have a therapy or a meeting or something with the doctor, and then you go on about your business.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that can have the capability to heal our minds and bodies. Those are gifts from God.
Yeah.
Like it says, I think it's Genesis 1:6, I give you all the plants of the earth. That's what they're
Use
for, is to be, our food is medicine. Then they give us these medicines to keep us sick.
So it's all just about what each individual needs to be productive and not be
What works for you.
not be all strung out and not being able to take care of your kids, not being able to hold a job. These are the things that we want for ourselves and want for each other.
Mhm.
I couldn't hold a job to save my life. I couldn't do nothing until I got on Suboxone.
Yeah.
And I was 36, 37 years old.
Yeah.
I'm almost 50.
It did help me get my
Come on.
life together. It was just so hard for me to come off of, and I got so sick with it.
Everybody's different,
They are.
It's like there's not one silver bullet. There's
No.
a bunch,
There are.
and you got to
That's
find
right.
yours.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But why haven't you been interviewed nationally? Why weren't
I'm
on
wondering
News
the same
Nation?
thing.
I'm just
Well,
Somebody
curious.
they
reached
told
out
her-
to me.
They told her and the others that they had.
The day she did my interview, she was supposed to be leaving my house to go interview Liz.
Mm.
And then
Nobody ever
she
reached
never
out to me. So they
did it.
lied.
So they lied.
They lied about having an interview and talking to me to get them. And once they got them, got at their interview with them, they just, which they never reached out to me. They never had any.
Sure. Well, yeah, that's what's frustrating. I'm glad you got to share it nationally, but what's frustrating,
that's what it's about.
What's frustrating about it is like, it's really a lot more complicated.
And there's so much more to it
than just, exactly. Yeah. It's not like, just hearing you all talk and hearing how intelligent you are and hearing how, you put a lot of thoughts. There is emotion involved, but of course there's going to be.
Yeah.
If you go through this, my goodness.
There's a lot of emotion, a lot of anger and bitterness and stuff too. But at the same time, like I look back and think, like there's nothing I can do to change the past or to change what's happened up to this point. But there is something I can do about the future.
Yeah.
I don't have to live in this place and have my kids grow up here with these same people running their lives. I can do something about that.
Heck yeah.
So that's like with Lexi's place. That's what we're wanting to do is give people a little piece of land, the resources, building materials, and volunteers to build them a little home that nobody can take away. Here's your keys. Here's your deed. And then have a self-sufficient community that we support each other. If you need childcare, we got you. If you need a ride to the doctor, okay.
Right.
You need to talk to a lawyer, let's go see somebody.
Yeah.
We want to have everything on deck to help these women with the resources.
She's building her own little town, buddy.
That they've never given us the opportunity to have. It's not complicated. It's not difficult.
Yeah. Tell me about Lexi's place. Do you have this idea that's cultivating? Is it you and a few people, or like what's the idea behind it?
Me and my podcast co-hosts Brandy and Sarah Davis, they will be helping me to get it off the ground. But we also had somebody reach out and offer to do the legal work and stuff for us. So he's going to get it all done official and stuff with the paperwork and make it, an official NGO and set us up a website and stuff so that we can really start to. And we've had a lot of people reach out and say that they have land that they want to donate, resources, people offering their time. We've got a lot of volunteers.
Well, good luck with that. That sounds great.
Yes.
Yeah, just be one of the things that I'm, I'm real skeptical now.
I mean, how could you not be?
I'm skeptical of people
about everything
calling in, sending me bad information. Me and her were talking about that. I just never would have dreamed that somebody'd send you down a wrong road. Say this is something, give you this whole big long story that's not even true. Just to get you off the track,
get you distracted or
think like that,
discredited or something.
We are quite the ant farm, this nation. The people will send you some of the craziest stuff, but also you got to figure out how to whittle through and find those few out there that are so valuable and important to progress. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the trick. Like, how do you maneuver this and build this thing? But I get it.
How do you trust the right? Who do you trust?
Sure.
We've already been through, I think it was Sabrina said in one of her things, she was like, I never thought that this would end up he was a cop, he was a policeman or, worked at jail, whatever. Who would have ever thought that this would be what we're talking about here? Who would have ever thought that they would have found themselves stuck in this kind of a situation? You just never think that somebody who wears a badge, in law enforcement is this much of a dirt bag. Somebody who would wear a robe and who we elect to sit on that bench would be such a dirt bag. People that have been appointed to watch over our county's
and
family
represent our
court
victims.
Situations, represent our victims.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the ones that are doing this to us and doing this to our people. We are proud Appalachian Americans, hillbillies. It's not a bad thing. Most people never thought we were smart enough to figure out what they were doing. When I worked in the nonprofit that I worked at, nobody ever thought I was smart enough to even know how to read my own contract. I found it all. I uncovered every bit of the misappropriation of funding in this place. And when I tried to bring it all to the board of directors, I sent it to them 3 times before the board of directors meeting. I said, please look over this stuff because I'm getting ready to tell you what it is when we have our meeting. But I need you to look at this stuff before we get there. Because if we get to the meeting and you haven't looked at it, it's worthless. It's useless. Get to the meeting, ain't none of them looked at nothing. None of them wanted to hear nothing I had to say. I got fired at that meeting because I'd found so much of it. Well, I've been ringing the bell ever since then, too, about the nonprofits and about how much white-collar crime. Like, do you know how much funding, federal funding, is just waste, fraud, and abuse right there in Letcher County alone? I don't have a number because I can't even calculate it.
We'll just say a lot.
We don't want federal funding for Lexi's place or anything that's going to require with stipulations or hoops or red tape for these women to jump through.
Mm-hmm.
If you want them to have to pee in a cup for a home, no, we don't want your money. If you want them to have to go and sign up on this program and then go to classes 3 days a week or volunteer time down the road, no, we don't want it. We want to be able to give them a base where they can just exist.
Right.
Without somebody taking it away.
Work on their life.
Yeah.
Kinda.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
The way that stuff's set up, a lot of that's hard. Somebody's
Sure.
got to pay taxes every month.
That's what we're hoping to be able to support it,
There's a
though.
lot of things that
support
go
it with a podcast or with other ways to support us.
I mean, like anything, it takes...
We want to be completely self-sufficient. We want to use solar panels, have a garden. We don't want nothing to do with this government because look what they've done to us. Like,
Sure.
look what they have done to us. They've done nothing but abuse and torture us for our whole lives.
Well, I wish you luck in building that effort. It sounds like it could be a great thing, and everything starts with an idea.
That's right.
It's going to be good.
Let's see. All right. So the trial is supposed to happen
2026. They ain't even got a date for it yet, but I'm assuming.
So they're not going for a speedy trial. You're guessing that there's going to be a plea deal. I mean, you would think probably, other than, unless they, what would you say, like reasons of insanity?
Yeah, that's what the defense is. It's mental health. His defense attorneys had they requested for a mental health evaluation for criminal responsibility. So they were saying they wanted this evaluation to see if what he was going on at the time of the shooting. They were not asking for an evaluation on competency. Like, is he competent to stand trial? They're only wanting the evaluation on, was he criminally responsible for pulling the trigger? Mm-hmm. Was there they're saying there was some kind of extreme emotional disturbance in that, chambers that caused that. Well, when all of these transcripts, the grand jury transcript and everything got leaked this past weekend, we find that it looks like he's he was having some mental health issues before leading up to this. Like, you've got Daniel Dotson saying that he was bat crazy and he was off his rocker and just all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that he also said, or Christine Boland, one of the sheriff's department deputies, said that Mickey said that Daniel had told him to give him money, that he needed to pay him money and then go out and kill himself. Mickey, the sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
So Daniel, who's the lawyer,
his lawyer, wasn't it?
He was the one who represented him at the deposition 3 days before he shot him, the judge. He's saying, you owe me money. You got to give me some money. Or I'll tell you what you need to do. You need to just give me your money and then go kill yourself or something.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Something like that. But that was what was in the transcript.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so the transcripts get leaked last week. that show, it just makes me question, why are they not asking for a competency hearing?
And you read them, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you read them on your channel?
Yeah, we read all of that stuff on my
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah.
Deep dives.
Definitely follow Hillbilly Crime. There's so much, hours and hours and hours of all this information. I do want to make a note, like, often families don't necessarily know if their family members are criminals. And I know there's probably people that are hurting when he was murdered.
Mhm.
And I want to be sensitive to the fact of those people that lost their loved one. Like I mentioned, when it comes to stuff like this, you really don't know until stuff comes out in court. Now, granted, you know your experience. You know, I just met you today, and you seem like a really intelligent person, and I appreciate you telling me. But I just want to make sure that someone out there listening that's related to Kevin that didn't know any of this stuff, they still lost a loved one, and
Of course.
those people are
we hate
victims
that.
too.
Like,
You know,
yeah, we hate that for them. Like, it's not about harming
Sure.
them or bringing any more harm or.
You know how many
of our
victims-
children have suffered
exactly
at his hands?
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, how do we?
When do my kids matter?
Yeah, exactly. How does this information come out now if he's not here? Like, how does it, you know what I'm saying?
It's just got to come out. Like
Yeah.
the same way that it's coming out.
Well, I know, but I guess it's like you follow the chain and then you just start pressing charges and figuring out, who's to blame. I guess it's like anything else, but I don't know how that
There
works
may
when
not
someone's
even
dead.
Be any charges to come? Like there may
And
not
there
be
may not
anything
ever be.
legal
Sure.
of this ever. But it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah.
That is
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
problem
Sure.
here. That is exactly the problem. That's one of the things that's created this environment and this air of secrecy and silence.
Sure. Yeah.
Because nobody can come out and say anything. There ain't no newspapers going to print it. There ain't no networks going to report it because there ain't no proof. There ain't no documentation.
But there
ain't
is.
no-
It's
Maybe
just
there
being
is.
covered.
There is.
Sure, yeah.
It's been hidden. There's a lot of victims that have physical evidence, and then we're just
Yes.
waiting for the appropriate authorities to give it to.
Oh, have you been gathering like a Google Drive of like, here you go? I mean,
No.
Or-
Some of the others, they have evidence stored out of state, out
Oh,
of
gotcha.
town. There's panties with semen in them. There's whole children walking around.
oh, wow. Like,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
DNA type,
Yes.
like paternity test stuff. Well, I mean, that's all evidence. Like, you know.
You got all kinds of people, kids, supposedly Judge Mullins.
There's text messages and stuff, a lot of text messages and stuff, making arrangements like for the other children and things like that. Other people at the jail too, asking for pictures of people to see your so that he'll put phone time on your brother's books or something.
Oh, my.
Things like that. We have evidence. It's just that there's not been anybody to give it to that can do anything about it.
Surely
And
someone's
the
gonna reach
ones
out.
that are still sitting on it and holding it, they're afraid to just release it.
Yeah, because
To just anybody because we don't know who to trust. And then what? Like, then what if they're like, oh, well, you released this here, so it's no good for court now. They're scared to just let it go.
where did those panties go with the semen in them? Well, the state cop came and got them last week. Well,
Right.
we don't know where they're at. We
Yes.
can't find them now.
And that's
You see
been the
what I'm
problem up
saying?
until now. So the ones who are still holding on to their physical stuff, they're holding on to it
Yeah.
until we can get a safe place to present it.
Same way
Sure.
with Chad Brown. Chad wouldn't
Yeah.
let go of
Because he knew if he would have given them those tapes, they would have sent him on, buried him under the jail, or even killed him in there maybe.
and they would have.
And then the tapes never would have seen the light of day. So
Sure.
he was very smart to do that. I hope that somebody can get his venue changed.
Well, if you keep speaking your truth, who knows? Like, there are good agents. There's good FBI agents. There's good state policemen out there, investigators.
well, reach out to us.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
but
yeah.
none
reach
of
out to
them
us.
have.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Please
maybe
reach
they,
out to us.
maybe they haven't heard.
Where are
maybe,
you?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. That's what I'm hoping is like the right person hears it and is like, you know what? Let me start looking into this. You know what I mean? But
that's all
and
we
then
need.
you run into things of like so many cases and everyone's overloaded, everyone's overworked and underpaid, and then it's like, but we can't forget this stuff.
Pro bono. Somebody,
Sure.
they've got to be paid too. You
Sure.
know?
Yeah, yeah. It's
I need a civil rights attorney desperately.
civil rights attorney. There's a good one in West Virginia. Has
Are
a
they
YouTube channel.
Yeah, pro
Okay.
bono.
Yeah.
We need you pro bono,
We need you,
though,
we need
because I
you.
can't pay you.
He's got a huge following, a couple million
Okay.
subscribers.
Which one?
Who is that?
The civil rights lawyer.
Oh,
is his
okay.
name.
Okay.
Is he from here? Is he
Yeah,
from
he's
here.
Monroe County.
Oh, okay. How far is that from here?
Not far.
Not far.
It's a couple hours.
No, I watch him sometimes.
He does mainly body cam stuff, but he
Mhm.
works on.
I love it.
You know,
I watch
he has
a lot of that.
he has a law practice, so
Mhm.
this is like what he does. I
Well,
can email him. Tell him
Last
to-
week, I was sitting
I'll
there.
email him and tell him like,
Yes,
hey,
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
But last week, I was sitting there watching the lawyer. You know.
Mhm.
I've watched him for a long time, and I was sitting there watching, and he started his show, and he says, "All right, now to my viewers, I hear you, I've heard you, I got everything that you sent me, but we're gonna listen to Brian Enton, and we're gonna watch Brian because he's a real reporter." Yeah, I think he was talking about me.
You think so?
I know, I pretty much know he was.
Yeah. Well, listen.
A lot of those same viewers had messaged me and had been messaging me for a long time saying, "Oh, we're telling them about your stuff. We're telling them about your stuff."
Yeah.
But nobody. It's like there's a competition. But see, one of the things, Gavin Fish was very instrumental in my journey. He sent me a couple documents one time, and he was like, "I've already got my week planned out. I can't do nothing with these. Here, you take them and see what you can do with them." I was like, "Oh my gosh, he just gave me a story. He just
Right.
gave me something. Oh my God, I feel so special." And so then somebody else asked me for him, and I was like, "Oh, well, he gave them to me. If he wanted them to have them, he would have given them to them, right?"
Yeah.
So I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey, do you want me to give him to?" He said, "Let's get something straight right now." He was like, "Listen, we're all in this together. It ain't about competition. Why are we doing this?
There's
We're
enough
doing
room
this
for
to bring
everybody."
awareness
Yep.
about these problems and these issues to the greater people, greater viewers and whatever." He said, "That's why we're doing this. We're not doing this to, whatever." And I loved that. And so we took that idea and we've been developing it. Like, how great would that be to have like this little creator space, this group of creators where we have a database. It's all public records that we've got, that we've built up anyway.
Mhm.
Maybe some videos here and there that we've put together, but we've created this kind of database, or what we're trying to create,
Sure.
and bring in certain creators that are like-minded, like we are. It's not about that. These are all public records that anybody can get. But I may not know how to do public records requests as well as somebody else does. And they might be able to do it really good. Well, if they share that with me, they're still going to go do their show, and I'm going to do my show.
Sure.
It's not a competition.
Just because you have the same material
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
mean
yeah.
that it's going to be the same.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I think that's why it resonates so much with people is like, a typical journalist goes through college and they do the thing and they go through all the steps, and then they get minded of like, well, I'm only going to listen to these credentials. But it's more than that when it comes to telling these human stories and experiences. It really takes someone like yourself with an energy that people appreciate, but also who is meticulous with reading and looking into what you're presented, and using your own experience too, to a certain extent, of knowing how certain things work and relaying it to people. I think that's resonating more with people now than anything, because they're just tired of the noise.
They're tired of the BS.
Sure, yeah.
And one of the things that it's only God, it was every bit God, but my mom is a college professor. She's taught math for like 50 years,
Mhm.
and she's 80 years old now. She's still part-time teaching at the college, the local college. I always knew that if I was ever going to be able to support myself and be successful, I had to have an education. I didn't know when it was ever going to happen because I only had a GED.
Mhm.
So at 40 years old, I went to school. I didn't go back to school. I went to school.
Mhm.
My freshman semester. In 6 years, I got my first associate's degree. That gave me really good grades. So I went and got another associate's degree right behind it. I just needed one more semester and I had enough credits. So I got 2 associate's degrees, one of them in law enforcement. My other one was in arts. I used that to transfer with an academic scholarship to EKU. And I graduated magna cum laude.
Look at you.
With a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And then I continued on and kept a 4.0 all the way through graduate school to get my master's degree in justice, policy, and leadership. So I have a master's degree. I also have a peer support specialist certification. I never could get hired. I went for 10 years. I tried and tried and tried to get a job down in Whitesburg. They stiff-armed me, like how your big brother does your little brother every time he comes near you, just gets you on the forehead and you just can't get nowhere, right? They're just keeping you. That's what they did to me the whole time. They wouldn't hire me as a dog catcher. They wouldn't hire me to clean the toilets. Nothing. I believed that lie that you can be anything you want to be. You put the work into it. I was a single mommy with a baby on each hip. And I graduated 40 years old.
Good for you.
And I did it all in 6 years. I never stopped. I went straight through. Nobody came to my graduations. Ain't nobody gave me no graduation party. To get my associates, you have to take the NOCTI placement, competency placement exam. It's a 3-hour exam. 2016, I took it. You don't get your degree unless you pass that exam. Highest ever recorded score in the nation.
Look at you.
97.4 on a 3-hour exam. Highest ever recorded score in the nation. Do you think anybody ever acknowledged that? Anybody? Even my professor? My professor called me and was like, do you know what you did? I was like, no. Huh? And he told me, and he was like, and that's about it. That's about it.
Good for you.
Do you think that, wouldn't that have been a great thing for the school to acknowledge for themselves?
You would think, for their own, look what our student did.
Look at what one of our criminal justice students did. No, because I was a 40-year-old recovering addict on Suboxone. Because all they wanted to hype up was abstinence, and Michael Clark, the preacher man. I was on Suboxone. They couldn't, they didn't want nothing to do with me. I struggle. I don't know how. She deals with it a lot better than I do, or at least she shows it better than I do. Like, I struggle with the resentment from all that. I know you can see it on my face. Like, I really struggle with that. That rejection was one of the most painful, and it was a continuous rejection, they wouldn't listen to me. I wasn't good enough just being in recovery.
Sure.
So I went and I got the first associate's degree, and I went down there, look. Okay, well, I'll be back. I go get the other one. Come back, same thing. Okay, well, I'll be back. They're gonna listen one day. I go get that bachelor's, come back. And they just laughed at me, mocked me, sent me out crying. Every time they'd send me out crying. Okay. Went back and got my master's. Same thing. Honey, I was going to get my PhD. And God said, no. Elizabeth, you've done enough. You've done enough. Stop. Because they're never going to accept you. Look at what God saved me from. Look what God kept me out of.
Yeah.
All that mess down there. And look at the job I got now, baby.
That's what I was saying about the
Look at the job I got now. And you're going to watch it. And you see it now. And you just wait until we finally make it.
Yeah.
I'll interview you then.
Heck yeah. Oh, wait. Hey, listen. I dropped out as soon as I got the Pell Grant. I bought a car hood, and then I started coal mining. Yeah, bought a car hood, started mining coal for 9 years. And then I learned how to make videos. That's literally.
Look at you.
So we all have our own paths, but that's amazing. Thank you for sharing.
And
that.
how did you go from coal to making videos? That's
I
a
don't really know.
huge.
I was a terrible coal miner, but thankfully it was union, so it was really hard for them to fire me. And so I go to work, I'd be bored, and do my thing. I'd go dump rock over the mountain 70 times a night. And I got to a point to where I was so complacent, I just wasn't there. I was always thinking about something to do creatively.
Mm-hmm.
And I started teaching myself. Walking Dead came out in 2011. And I wanted to make a zombie movie, and I didn't know how to do anything. So I started teaching myself on YouTube how to do that. And then I built that up until a year later. There was a position open for an editor at a car lot making terrible car commercials. And I made them not so terrible, but, car commercials can be annoying. But so I took a leap and took a huge pay cut. And I started doing that. And then a few years, I thought I could do this by myself for a living. And I started booking weddings was the first thing. And then I started, pitching nonprofits and different people, video packages. And eventually I built up a team and we started a marketing agency. That's not affiliated with this.
Yeah.
And it's got to a certain point to where it's streamlined now to where I wanted to do my passion project again, which was meeting people like you. So, and hearing your stories and sharing history and all the stuff about Appalachia that can be tragic, but also beautiful, some things. So
you're
that's
self-taught too.
Yeah. Self-taught.
Well, whenever I started this channel, I probably for 2 years watched every how to start a YouTube channel, YouTube video I could find.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I kind of knew what I needed to do, but it was just figuring it out, watching videos and just trying to figure it out. I was not my knowledge is in the criminal justice system. I'm not a director. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a marketer. I don't know how to do marketing.
Sure.
But so but I knew that I had to get all this stuff together. So I did. I put it all, I opened up all my accounts. I opened up everything, got me a Shopify store going, got my merch going, but I had to learn how to do that. Like I didn't know how to design a t-shirt. I didn't know how to do, Printful and put my merch together, to where it's connected to your YouTube and it's connected to, just got my TikTok shop approval. So now I can start selling my YouTube merch off of my Shopify store. I can start selling that on my TikTok shop, just building all of this out into a real business.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have an MBA. I don't know anything about business.
You're doing pretty good.
But I'm figuring it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Real
Self-taught.
Real finds real. And it always will. And you just got to figure out how to put yourself out there. So it's going to work out. And on that too, so yeah, that's the basic overview of it. Obviously, it's going to be way more complicated when the trial happens, but if there's a plea, there may not be that much released, but we'll see how this all unfolds. But where do you want people to know to follow you at, both you and Tya?
Hillbilly Crime.
Hillbilly Crime and Appalachian Dreamers or Apple Dream. And it's Appalachian.dreamer on TikTok.
Gotcha. Yeah. And Hillbilly Crime is on
I'm going to start working on X soon and try to build a bigger following there because there's more politicians and stuff on there, less censoring.
Right.
And we want to really make real changes. We don't want this to die down and get forgotten about
This will
again.
take 20 years, but it'll take the rest of our lives. But that's all right.
Hey, listen, you
We
got to
found
whatever
our
it
niche.
takes.
you can't keep fighting, or you can't quit fighting. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And you're on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram.
X, Instagram. Yeah, we're on all of them.
All the good stuff. Okay. And you do lives regularly.
If anybody
Great,
wants
Tya.
to look me up to look at my criminal record, it's under the name Tya Lucas, and it's state number 306495.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Is there
Yeah,
anything you want to state
Well,
about?
no, we just had a lot of people was like, they can't even find a criminal record for you. I'm like, let me find out. But I was like, well, I finally figured out what it was. It was they was searching under my married name and not looking under the maiden name where I was booked.
Okay. Is there
So-
anything you want to say about your record?
Yeah, the unlawful imprisonment, the kidnapping charge, that was for a fight in the jail at the booking desk. Angie Fields is the one that testified against me and charged us with kidnapping, but she wasn't even present. It was another guard that put the girl in there for the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing had happened to me a week before, and those girls got 10 days. I got 12 and a half years.
Okay. So that was the long, and is there any other charges? I haven't looked
It's
into
the trafficking,
background.
trafficking, one Suboxone,
Mhm.
and then the child support, then that
Okay.
unlawful imprisonment, and there was a contraband charge too. They found a piece of metal in my mat. I had a ripped mat. The metal was for like digging the shower drain and stuff out so that the water would
Gotcha.
go down and
Mhm.
yeah, the gross and for the wall and stuff. But
I got you.
yeah, they charged me with dangerous contraband and said I had a shank. And I was like, it is not a shank. That is not what that is. But
Well, listen, you're on your way back, and I'm looking forward to watching your climb. And I'm so
Yeah.
sorry that
Yeah.
obviously we wish we weren't here. We wish that everyone just had perfect lives and
Well,
nothing happened. But it's very inspiring to see you willing to put yourself out there, and we'll
gotta
see where
have
this
a
goes.
test to have a testimony.
that's
I know, but
True.
some tests you don't really need.
I
You
know.
know what I mean?
Yeah, you could have
It's
done
like,
without it.
yeah, like give me a couple speeding tickets to get over. It's like, my goodness. But thank you all. Everyone
Thank
else
you for having us.
Yeah. Appreciate you being here and making the drive. Everyone else, before we leave, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Creepalachia on YouTube if you haven't. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, take a minute and leave a review. That'll really help the show be found. I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to this important story. We will see how it unfolds. But until then, everyone else, always remember, above all else, long live Appalachia.